Hi, welcome to the video. My name's Dychronic, and today I want to talk about the Xur, his random rolls, the location, my recommendations for what's today? April 15, 2022. You can find him in his regular location in the tower, so just make your way into the top left section of the hangar, and you can find him right here next to the edge. The precipice. This is a high overview in case this is all you cared about. First up for the weapon today, we have the QUEENBREAKER. QUEENBREAKER being a linear fusion rifle that has two different zoom modes, one with higher damage, lower fire rate, and the other one with the opposite, which is an interesting weapon, but you don't really see it that often. It used to be back in the day that this thing had an extra amount of aim assistance that it shouldn't have had, and it was actually really dominant in Gambit, because you could just invade or anti-invade and literally hit somebody in the head when shooting them in their foot. That's not an exaggeration, it happened all the time. But nowadays, not very many people use it for anything. The last little thing I'll say is that if you're using it in PvE, technically the longer range, slower fire rate, higher damage is better because they both do the same DPS, but that one actually has more total ammo damage. After that, for the Hunter Exotic, we have the OPHIDIA SPATHE. It gives you an extra melee charge just for solar. And not only is this not significantly useful, there's so many other things that you'd rather have. I really don't like this exotic because it doesn't really reward you for anything other than using solar, and even then you'd rather use other things. And look, you're gonna have a Cobra. Wow, look at it go. As far as the stats go, you like to see mobility and strength and recovery, and it actually has all of that, although slightly below total average. Not a bad roll, but not a great exotic. Up next after that, we have the Titan exotic known as the ACD feedback fence. This is actually, fun fact, the armor that my character is wearing in my channel banner on YouTube. If you don't know, I just really like the look of this exotic, but it's personally not a very good one. Essentially, melee hits build energy. Being struck by a melee attack reduces all incoming damage and unleashes that energy in a devastating explosion. And that reduction in damage is actually rather significant, but by the time you're getting meleeed in PvP or PvE, you're usually dead by that point. And the explosion doesn't do a massive amount of damage. It's better than it used to be, but not a massive amount. As far as your roll goes, you probably like resilience, strength. It's okay, but the total stats is pretty low. And finally, for the Warlock exotic, we have the Skull of AHAMKARA, an exotic that's very close to being in the top 10 for Warlock exotics, where you get essentially more damage resistance while using a Nova Bomb. It's technically the highest resistance in the game, although it's only during your actual throw, and then Nova Bomb kills give you super energy up to 50%, just like any super generating exotic. And this exotic is actually good. Like, most people forget that this exists, and it's actually a good option. Because let's face it, Nova Bomb is always going to be useful no matter how hard the activity is, and it's getting more of those is always useful. That being said, it's only for a tiny part of your gameplay, so I usually prefer neutral game stuff like Controverse Hold, Nazareth Sin, that are just going to be useful more often. As far as the roll goes, you like to see probably a lot of intellect, recovery, has decent recovery, an okay amount of intellect, but the total stats of 59 is below average. After that, let's take a look at the legendary weapons. First up, we have the Last Perdition, which has a moving target Zen moment, handling stuff in here. Not the best roll. I do believe this actually has kill clip as an option. You can definitely do a lot more range stuff, and this thing can reach out to some pretty serious range, so I would look for range stuff for this one. After that, we have the Friction Fire, which is a 600 RPM precision frame. Killing Wind Wellspring is not a bad combo, although I don't remember how many different things you can have on this. Usually like to see a bit more range. Obviously there's no zoom options here, and generally we found this particular weapon to have poor stats when compared to something like Shira's, so I'm not a big fan. After that, we have the WOLFTONE Draw, which is Threat Detector Demolitionist. I think that this can have explosive payload as well as a number of really much better perks, so not a big fan. After that, we have the Truth Teller, which has blinding grenades, although this can get auto-loading and spike grenades and blinding grenades, and I think Vorpal, a lot of much better perks on it. Following that, for the FRACTETHYST, actually has Slight Shot Harmony, which is not a bad combo, has Assault Mag, has Small Bore. Not the best combination, but not the worst. Could actually find a good deal of use out of this, although generally you usually need full choke, making it a lot better. After that, we have the HOOSEGOW, which is an adaptive frame, which rockets that are adaptive frames are usually god-awful. Tracking is okay, kill clip is not at all what you want to rocket. Technically, it has impact casing, but still don't like it. And lastly, we have the third Axiom, which is Rangefinder 1 for all for a 390 pulse rifle. Oh, I didn't mean to buy it. I meant to buy that because it's amazing. It's alright, it's not the best. Oh, it has extended barrel and high cal and a pendant. I mean, it's pretty good, but you know, I didn't need it. As for the legendary armors, this is going to be the set for the Titan, and we've got a number of interesting options here. First of all, a total 64 high intellect, which has recovery mobility focus. Highly recommend this one if you don't have a good one. 48 total with weird distribution, not really a big fan of. 63 with high mobility. I personally like high mobility, and 63 is that nice average you're looking for. And a 65 with recovery and strength on it. Again, these are some really good rolls, good total averages, decent distributions that I would highly recommend if you don't have good rolls. And of course, if you don't know, the exotic engram from here, as well as every exotic engram you ever receive, is going to be something you've never received before, and it's going to be a high stat roll, unless obviously you have all of them. Ooh, not exactly what I was looking for, but 67. God. Yeah. And of course, we have the exotic weapons. First of all, we have the Hawkmoon, which has quick draw, it has combat grip, and it has small bore. Personally, not my favorite combination. Quick draw is a decent option. Personally, I prefer polymer grip, and then of course, anything with recoil direction like chamber compensator or extended barrel is gonna be my preferred choice here. And of course, I really like rangefinder, maybe opening shot, surplus. There are definitely a lot more better options. Not a terrible roll, but you could do better. Following that, we also have a Dead Man's Tale, which has Vorpal, a very popular PvE roll, although not really a PvE weapon. Following that, we have Ricochet, Fluted Barrel, which is decent, has a nice in handling and stability, and of course the Composite Stock, which is stability handle. Not a bad roll, I'd say a pretty good PvE roll, but again, I'd much rather not use this in PvE. And of course, if you haven't seen it already, I do live stream after all of these videos, as well as all the times on screen right now. Come check it out. We oftentimes do open lobbies for raids, for Nightfalls. Gonna be doing some Grandmasters soon, hopefully. And obviously, we don't have any fun at all. So if you want fun, definitely don't go here. Go to somewhere else like Bife or Kutra, anybody that's much better with content, you know. But you know, if you want to have some no fun, come on over. And of course, a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, a big thank you to Mom and Dad, Christian Thompson, Kelly Allen, Ostrike, Jacob Burke, Monday, Steve Bachman, Unipanther, and Casey Reagan for their support on Patreon. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name's Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.